Every time I go on a test ride, I get really excited. But this is extra special because when I imagine myself riding a motorcycle, this is what I'm on. But I'm a little bit worried because, as they say, never meet your heroes as they're bound to disappoint you. Well, let's find out if that's true in this episode of Beyond the Ride with the Triumph Bobber Black. The Bobber Black is powered by a 1200cc 4-stroke liquid-cooled single overhead cam 8-valve parallel twin engine mated to a 6-speed transmission. It punches out 77 horsepower and 106 Nm of torque. Keeping bumps at bay, we got the Showa 47mm forks with cartridge damping with 90mm of travel up front and a KYB monoshock with 77mm of travel at the rear. Stopping power is provided by twin 310mm disc Brembo 2 piston floating calipers in the front and a single 255mm disc Nissan single piston floating caliper at the back, both with ABS. The tires are fatter than the normal Triumph Bobber. The front 130 by 90 and the rear 150 by 80, both with 16s. The dash display is an LCD multifunctional instrument packed with analog speedometer, odometer, gear position indicator, fuel gauge, range to empty indicator, service indicator, clock, average and current fuel consumption display, traction control status display, and more. It's a bobber, which means the seat is extremely low, 690mm. Clearly not a problem for me. That's the way it's supposed to be built. And it's actually not a problem even for the under tall. The seating position of a bobber is a little bit unique. You are seated very comfortable like this. Your leg is almost at a 90-degree angle. However, when you're riding, you do have to reach forward a tad bit. In fact, if you're in this position for a while with your head up, you can imagine on a long ride, it could get a little bit uncomfortable. But how far can you go? Because the tank capacity is only 9 liters, so you're gonna have to stop a lot anyway. With a bike this low and a dry weight of 228 kilograms, it's a little strange that a lot of the weight seems to be somewhere here, which gives you a little bit of the sensation that you might tip over. But because it's so low to the ground and I can flat-foot it no problem, it's easy to balance. Bobbers have been around since the 1930s, but they really gained popularity at about 1950 or so, after World War II, when the custom culture really blew up. This bike pays homage to that era, but you don't need to touch it. It's drop-dead gorgeous as is. Triumph did a really good job keeping this bike as minimalist as possible. They hid the monoshock right here underneath the seat to give it a hardtail look. They also kept the rear fender close to the tire as much as they could to give it a more streamlined look. The build quality of the bike is top-notch. I mean, it is a Triumph. It looks fantastic. The front of the bike with the LED headlights look perfect. I honestly can't think of anything on 2 wheels that's more beautiful than this. But let's find out how it sounds.
The seat, well, it's not very comfortable at all. Well, and you can expect that with any kind of bobber. The rear suspension makes me feel a lot of the road, a whole lot more than I want. And it's a little problematic here in the Philippines. Usually bar and mirrors are, well, kind of useless. But this works pretty well. I can see what I need to see, and it does manage to squeeze in under most side mirrors of cars, so you can lane filter pretty well. The ride itself It's pretty smooth. I just wish the road conditions were better. It's got a multi-plate assist clutch that is extremely pleasant to use. The pickup, fantastic, so impressive. And listen to that sound! It's a whole lot more nimble and agile than I thought it would be. Sure, it won't corner like sport bikes, but that's not what this is for. I took this out to Cavite and rode it on the expressway, and it rode like an absolute dream.
After having this for a couple of days, there's some quirky stuff about it that I'm not too fond of. But I don't care. I'm willing to give up practicality and comfort for heritage and styling. Yes, I know, it sounds shallow, but so what? I love it, and I want it. I just have to find 995,000 Philippine pesos so I can get myself one of these. For more information about this bike and other great deals out there on some other MCs, log on to www.motodeal.com.ph. This has been Gene Rufino. Hope you guys enjoyed going beyond the ride. Anybody want a kidney? Cheap lang. Under 1 million. I'm healthy, I don't drink. Anyone?
50 pesos!
No.